Um, yeah, so this is the direct-to-object printers, which you also have seen a few on the booth. What we didn't show on the booth is the 7151 range. So these are, you can already see it a little bit from the shape of the machine. These are like real industrial products with a very high accuracy and repeatability. So this is basically the type of machine that we recommend to industrial companies who want to replace screen print or pet print and looking for a digital solution, because we have the repeatability and the accuracy and the quality to actually do, I would say, even better than screen print. Another one.
Please.
Anyone else who wants to clip something on? JVX200, for the ones who joined the press conference yesterday, it's the product that I explained that really changed the reachability of large format UV flatbed with the launch of, well, actually the model just before this one, but we created a whole new segment of accessible price level large format flatbed printer, and as a result, in Europe now many sign companies own their own UV flatbed printer, which 10 years ago wasn't really possible because it was out of reach for them. And thanks to this model, actually, we have, as I explained yesterday, we reached the #1 market share in EMEA for the large format flatbed printer segment in 2016. And thanks to this model, basically, we haven't lost that #1 position for a single quarter since 2016 up to today, which really shows how strong Mimaki is in the UV range. Of course, in between there are a lot of applications. It's going to take way too much time to explain all of them, so be impressed. If you have any question, let me know. Here we show some of applications which are basically dye sublimation. So when we say dye sublimation, a lot of people think about textile, which of course, in terms of volume, textile is the biggest part of dye sublimation, but also dye sublimation can be used on hard substrates, like we do here. So you get very nice, bright, glossy, durable prints on hard surfaces. And then we have the roll-to-roll range for sign graphics, so a bit more the traditional business of Mimaki. 3.2 meter UV, 3.2 meter solvent next to it. And then here we have a whole range of print and cut machines.
Like a canvas.
Another one, it's also at the booth, but another one of the UCJV 330, which is the successor of the very popular UCJV 300. So this has just been launched at the end of 2023, and we are unable to keep up with the demand at the moment. So the delivery times at this moment have even reached up to July. It's very popular product. That we are receiving orders daily basis for this model. Now we go to the section where the bigger stuff is happening. So it's a little bit crowdy and noisy here. So I will try to do it a little bit louder. On the right side is the new JVX 600 2531. So this is the large size of the JVX 600, which we are actually launching now commercially. Print speed up to 200 square meter per hour in full color, and when the machine is equipped with white ink, we can reach speeds up to 110 square meter per hour. What is unique is the increased bed size does not only allow us to print larger sheets, we can do that if we need to, but when the customer prints the regular sheet size, we have a toggle function which allows people to place the material and prepare it with cleaning on the back side when the machine is printing on the front side, and it will kind of switch. So the machine prints uninterrupted as long as the operator keeps up with the speed of the machine. And that is, the print speed itself is not changed from the smaller size, but when we look at the productivity, when we compare the large table size in toggle mode with the regular JPEG 600, which has a 4x8 bed, a lot of the time actually goes not in the printing, but in changing the materials and cleaning them to be ready for print again. So print speed in square meter per hour is the same, but if you talk about real output per hour that you can do, it's increased a lot with this new model. And then on your left side, on my right, is the CFX 2531, the new large format cutting table. We are showing it here in a 2.5 by 3.1 meter version, but we do have it available in 2.5 by 1.3, 2.5 by 3.1, which is the one you see here, and then we also have 2.5 by 5 meter, which is even longer than this one, so 5 meter long. The tools you see on the head right now, it's a modular system, so we are able to make a different combination of tools, different pressures, reciprocal cutters, tangential cutters, creasing functions, including V-cut, and we also support a variable angle V-cut function, which means you can not only make 90 degrees corners, but you can also get different angles of corners in your finished product.
These are designed to go directly from that to that.
Yes.
Seamless.
Basically the software supports a print and cut workflow, so they can be used completely separate. They can also be used in a print and cut workflow where the whole software will basically manage the whole process from print up to cut.
You get one. Ah, Brett. Hello, Brett. Nice to see you. You well?
Bumping into you here.
All the places. All the places. In a bit.
Then on the booth we've been showing the TXF 300, which is the recently launched high-speed version of the DTF printer. What you're looking at here is the TXF 150, the original one launched at the beginning of last year, which is, let's say, the slower brother. DTF has been extremely popular from the moment we launched it. Basically, we started volume shipments around August last year. So basically, we have only been shipping about 6 months, and we have already shipped over 450 units in EMEA. And I remember we wrote the press release about 300 units, and I believe the ink is only just dry, and we have the 450 unit milestone already. And before the ending of our fiscal year, which is the end of March, our aim is now to close the 500 unit milestone. And then next to that, we have we released this last year at ITMA. It's the Tiger 600. It's, well, as you see, it's pretty high speed. It's a high-speed industrial dye sublimation transfer printer. Speeds up to 550 square meter per hour, directly onto paper. It's a very compact design. Some people may remember the original Tiger, which was like a huge lineup of equipment. We have a completely new design here where we feed the paper. You can see it actually from the back side of the machine. So in the traditional design, we used to have a big feeding device, then the printing device, and then we would have a dryer and the take-up. What we are doing here is we are feeding from a mini jumbo roll in the back. It goes into the printer. It returns from the bottom, which is where we have the dryer, and then it actually takes up on the back side again. So we don't need to have, so the machine design itself is much more compact, and also we don't have to keep a lot of space on both the back and the front. If we have enough space on the back to deal with the materials, the front side we only need to keep enough space for the operator to check the print quality. So the machine size plus the reduction of the space, we can save almost 4 meters of space in the depth requirement of the machine installation space. The inks we use in this machine has recently been Blue Sign certified, which means that we have a certification for, it's not so much about the environment, it's more about how friendly the ink is for human beings. So it's about skin contact, it's about those kind of things. And also we have ZDHC level 3 certification for those inks and Ocotex certification. So basically we have all the certificates in place that are required for the ink to be used even for the most restricted brand requirements, let's say in the fashion industry. Some of the other more entry-level textile products here, the TS330, we are showing it on the booth in the Trappist system, as part of the Trappist system where it's used with textile pigment ink. But in the end, it's all based on the original TS330, which is a dye sublimation printer, which is how it is here. Also supporting fluor ink, as you can see on this shirt. So we have fluor yellow and fluor pink colors available in this machine. And then next is the area which has, despite the equipment being very impressive, the next is the area which has the biggest wow effect, which is our 3D corner. If you follow me. This is our 3D corner. Here you see the entry-level 3D UJ2207, which has a 20 by 20 by 7 centimeter build size. So this is very much the entry level for people who want to start printing 3D. What is unique in our 3D technology is we print in full color. And when we say full color, we are not just talking about adding some colors to 3D print, but we talk true full color with a gamut of over 10 million colors. And also our 3D prints are color managed, which is, it's a big difference if you go from the printing industry into 3D or when you come from the 3D industry and you try to add color. They know what 3D means, but they know what color means. We have been able to map all the technology we have from our, let's say, 2D or traditional printing business to map all those technologies to 3 dimensions basically. So we have ICC profiled 3D printing in full color with a gamut over 10 million colors. Next to the small size, we have the larger, more industrial build printer. You'll see 2 of them here. Those have a build size of 50 by 50 by 30 centimeters. So they are capable of doing much bigger pieces. And then on the side here and behind you, those are all 3D printed samples. So everything you see here is 3D printed onto those printers. Applications go from product prototyping. There are people spending days on designing a shoe, and in the end they end up in the boardroom to get the product approved, and they are looking at the 3D rendering on a piece of paper. It's way more difficult to decide than when you actually produce the shoe. Well, you can't wear it, but you can put it on the table and you can look at it and you can look from every angle, and it just looks like the real thing, including the surfaces. If you look at those surfaces, this just looks like fiber, but it's not. It's all 3D printed. We have nothing added to this. There is no additional coloring after the printing process. So this came, well, there's a support layer around it because we can, basically it's layers of ink, UV ink, and then we have a support material because if we print this like this, we can make this pure in the air. So this is all filled with a support material which is also jetted with inkjet, which is water. It dissolves into water. So basically then the whole thing goes into water with a little bit of movement. And after a couple of hours, it comes out completely clean and completely in color. And also we have, they are here in the bottom. So also we have quite some customers who are doing medical models for educational purpose. We also have customers in, how do you call that? The aesthetic, like when you get a surgery to change your face or rebuild your nose. Yeah, it's not really my scene, but so we have a lot of customers there actually where they just scan your face and basically just cut it from here and then redesign you and actually print you in 3D, and they just put you on the table like, is this the new one you want to be? Yeah, a lot of things are happening out there. Yes, and people, and it's people spend a lot of money on those kind of surgeries, so they really want to know what it's going to be, and for those companies also, it's a rather expensive technology, but for them it pays off because the surgeries are also very expensive, and it's an added service to their customers also.
Are you selling these printers mainly to your print customers, or are they a whole
No.
new market?
No,
Whole new
it's
market.
they're only. At this moment, I'm from the top of my head, I'm only aware of 2 customers who are our traditional Mimaki customers from the traditional business who have added 3D. All the rest are it's all new business for us, which goes into completely different industry. So it goes from product prototyping, and product prototyping can be anything. Anything that gets produced needs a prototype. Up to architectural models. We also have a few of those. And also the medical industry, 3D maps. We have some customers that are in the defense industry who are making 3D maps of war zones, including all the little armies to move around. It's we have a few more, but quite some projects we have in the 3D business are in the NDA. So the most amazing ones we can't really explain, unfortunately.
A few years ago,
especially not with all the cameras pointed at me.
everything will be shared with you first.
Yeah.
Is there a specific reseller channel for the 3D, or is it the same resellers?
Both. It's a mixture of. I would say for the bigger markets, because the 3D business is pretty much concentrated in. I mean, if you look at EMEA, we talk about 56 countries, but we only have about 10 countries where 3D is really a big market for us. In those bigger markets, we have a dedicated channel for 3D. In the smaller markets, because the hardware side is pretty much the same as our for one of our existing resellers, to provide the technical support on the hardware is not very difficult. With a little bit of training, they can basically, in the end, it's an inkjet printer with some added stuff. So in the smaller markets, what we usually do is we help them in the, let's say, pre-sales process, to make the samples, explain the whole process, make the calculations, because the cost calculations for the customer are very different from traditional print. And then once the sale is made, basically we hand them over for the hardware support, and usually there is a third-party software company involved who does the software support.
Okay, you talked about, sorry, I'm getting bogged down in 3D. You talked about the UV printing. Is that how you got into 3D? Because you transferred the similar technology across?
Yeah, it kind of, well, I wouldn't say started as a joke, but almost. So we were working on the UV flatbed printers, and we were doing those, which we nowadays call 2.5D, because we build a lot of software around it to make those structures, or reliefs in the prints. But we were doing that manually a long time ago, and then we were like, wait a minute, if we build up enough of layers, we get some kind of 3D. So if we build enough layers, we should get a model. And then some people started to play around, and well, in the end, it's not as simple as it sounds. It's also it's not a plain UV ink we are using. So we have made a lot of changes to. In the basis, it's a UV ink, but we've made a lot of changes to. You know, if you take a regular UV ink and you would build up so many layers, you get a lot of deformation, because it doesn't stay in the shape you initially created. So a lot of changes have happened. Also, if you build up a lot of ink layers with UV ink, you usually get some kind of warping. So to remove that, basically we have some kind of scraper roller. So basically what we do is every layer of UV ink, so to say, in 3D we call it material. Every layer of material we jet, it's actually jetted, cured, and right after it's cured, we have a little scraper that actually removes the top 1.5 micron from the layer to make sure it's completely flat before we put the next layer on top of it.
Cool.
And then of course we had to add the support material to make sure that it all gets into a certain shape.
And after that, it's just the imagination of what you can do with it.
I think this has been around. I mean, we made the big one was the first one we released. It was 2017.
Yeah.
So it's been
a while.
It's been almost 7. Well, it was end of 2017. So let's say six and a half years. 6.5 years that this technology is around for us. And I mean, there was years of R&D ahead where we already saw samples and everything.
Sure.
But still today, whenever I walk into this corner and I look around, it's still like, and each time when they make a new sample, I'm like, wow. And it only gets better. Even this very little batch here, which shows our commitment to the sustainability goals of the United Nations, actually was produced here on this machine.
Very nice. Thank you.